simplify the following complex fraction. So we have negative 5 over b minus 5 minus 3 as the numerator, and then 10 over b minus 5 plus 6 as the denominator. So the first thing we want to do is multiply the top and the bottom by the LCD of each of the denominators. So it looks like the only distinct denominator we're looking at is b minus 5. So the LCD of b minus 5 is just b minus 5. So we multiply both the top and the bottom of the expression by the LCD. So I'm going to distribute it into each, I'm going to distribute b minus 5 into each term, and then I'm going to simplify in the next step. So this is equal to minus 5 over b minus 5 times b minus 5 over b minus 5 minus 3 times b minus 5. In the denominator, okay, so now we're in a position where we can simplify. So the b minus 5's here cancel out since there's one in the numerator and one in the denominator. And then I'm going to distribute the 3 and the 6 to the difference. So what's left over? In the numerator we have minus 5 minus 3b plus 15, right? I distributed that negative 3 into that difference. And then in the denominator we get 10 plus 6b minus 30. So now combining like terms, we get minus 5 plus 15 is 10 minus 3b over 10 minus 30 is minus 20 plus 6b. So now we have a rational expression, and we would want to simplify that, right? So how we do that is to try to factor out any terms that either the numerator or the denominator might have in common. So in the numerator, it doesn't look like there's anything in common. So let's rewrite this as 3b plus 10. I just switched the order. I didn't do anything weird. And then in the denominator, it looks like there's a 2 in common, right? Because if we factor out a 2, yeah, we can factor out a 2. And what's left is, if we factor out a 2 from the 6b, we're left with 3b. And if we factor out a 2 from the 20, we're left with negative 10. Now, notice these two terms, 3b minus 10 and negative 3b plus 10, look alike, but they're not exactly the same. But I want you to notice that negative 3b plus 10, if you factor out a negative 1, that basically means just factoring out a negative 1 and changing the signs, we get positive 3b minus 10, right? So we can get negative 3b plus 10 to look like positive 3b minus 10. We just have to factor out a negative 1. So since we have this set up, I'm going to replace this bit into the numerator. So now what this looks like is the numerator is going to become negative 1 times 3b minus 10 over 2 times 3b minus 10. And since there's a 3b in the numerator and the denominator, they cancel out. So what this finally simplifies to is negative 1/2. And since there's no way to reduce this any further, that's our final solution.